I'm Alphonse Nicholson. I'll be doing 2 monologues for you. The first will be Henry Ford's Hotspur, and the second will be Howard Kraft's The Minstrel. My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, there came a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped showed like a stubble land at harvest home, his perfume like a milliner. And betwixt his finger and his thumb he held a ponce's box, whichever and anon he gave his nose and took away again, and still he smiled and talked. And as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught knaves, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course betwixt the wind and his nobility. With many holiday and lady terms he questioned me, amongst the rest, demanding my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with a popping jay. Out of my grief and impatience I answered, neglectingly I know not what. He should or he should not, for he made me mad. See him shine so brisk and smell so sweet and talk so like a waiting gentlewoman of drums and guns and wounds, God save the mark. And telling me the sovereignest thing on earth was Parmacity for an emerald bruise. And that it was great pity, so it was, that this villainous saltpeter should be digged from the bowels of the harmless earth, which many a tall good fellow had destroyed so cowardly. And but for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. This bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly as I said, and I beseech you, let not this report come current as an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty. Well, first off, my name Abel. Abel Green. Damn glad to meet you. Perhaps you've heard of me, or us rather? No? Really? I know why. You don't recognize me without my face on. That's me and William Benson. Come on, folk. William Benson, the great colored actor, comedian, and minstrel. You heard of Bert Williams, right? The song Nobody? Well, think Bert Williams with a whole lot less money and a more complex kind of funny. I was his partner, and we were Captain Davenport's minstrel troupe, featuring 2 willing and able bona fide darkies. William came up with that part, the bona fide part. See, that's how we competed against the white minstrels in blackface. That's where our pitch came from, which was, why hire fake coons when you can hire real ones? These boys wiped the black off, and the black's still there. Yeah, see, we did it like this. William had this cousin in New Orleans named Alonzo who could pass for white. So he would pose as Captain Davenport for a small cut of the money. Go to town a week before us, book the show, and then we'll come and perform. I'm telling you, it was beautiful. Yeah, William always had a plan. He knew everything, read everything. He'd get drunk and spend the night reciting Shakespeare. He knew the complete works, except for Othello. He refused to commit that one to memory. Said Othello was nothing but a minstrel show without the punchlines. The only weakness he had was for, shall we say, ladies of the night. Now, I know some might think I'm wrong for saying that, but where I come from, if you go tell a man's business, then you tell all of it. It wasn't that William couldn't get a regular woman, it's just the towns being what they were and the money that we were making. A man with $1 or $2 didn't have to go to a house of ill repute to find a lady friend. I asked William why he liked prostitutes so much. He said because they were master actors and they knew the secret to managing vacancy and he wanted to learn it. I didn't know what he meant by that at the time, but I damn sure understood after Jefferson. Jefferson was one of those life-changing events like I mentioned earlier. It's the reason William ain't going on this gig with me. It's the reason why I got less money in my pocket. It's the reason why I wake up some nights shaking and sweating, turns into crying. It's the reason why I sleep with a whiskey bottle on my night table and a gun underneath my pillow. Our car broke down a few miles before we reached the city. And we left Alonzo with the car and decided to seek help from a small town on the other side of the field. It was hot. It wasn't even noon yet, but the air was thick, thick enough to cut like cake. We smelt the body before we saw anything. It was a sweet stench like burnt pork. Once we made it to the dip at the end of the field, we saw the tree where the body hung. It's hard to believe what we were looking at was once human, once a man. It was burnt black as tar. Parts of him was missing. His lips, his nose, his ears. Even his private parts. I turned my back and vomited, but Will just kept staring. There were bottles everywhere and peanut holes and cigarette butts. Some of them even had lipstick on them. And William looked down and saw this little doll, this little girl's doll with hay-colored hair. Somebody brought their daughter to watch that man burn. Brought her like they were taking her to the county fair to watch the apple bobbing contest. Anyway, when William looked down and saw that dog, a noise came out of him that I'd never heard come out of any human being. He started cussing and throwing bottles in the trees, and I had to put my hand over his mouth and drag his ass out of there before we ended up hanging in the wind like the poor fellow above us. We made it to Jefferson later that night, and you're damn right we performed. What were we supposed to do? Take the night off because we're upset? Start a protest that nobody was going to know about but us? Oh, we're supposed to run and tell the sheriff? No, buddy. Me and William did what we were supposed to do. And I tell you this, it was by far the best performance we ever had. Thank you.